you became a director also with this film. So did behind the camera always intrigue you?
Always. I've been wanting to direct for a very, very long time. I've worked on some scripts as well, but I wasn't sure if I can take on the responsibility of a full-fledged feature film. So I thought, हाँ, किसी दिन करूँगी. But during the lockdown, these two stories just came to me from within, and I wrote them. And I felt time is too short. So today is what we have. And it was like a switch that went on in my head. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it right away.
And how did you balance like acting, performing in front of the camera and also directing? Because it was like a one-man army. It was you who is featuring in the film entirely, and you are also directing it. Like, how did you? What challenges did you face?
Well, one is that direction itself comes with a lot of challenges. It's a very, very high responsibility job, and I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't have such a fantastic team with me, who supported me and supported my vision and elevated it. And I honestly, like when I'm just acting in a film, I focus on what I am doing in terms of a performer. But over here, I focused on more as a director than an actor. You lose a lot of time also because you do a shot, you check the shot, you make certain changes, you go back, do the shot, then you come back and check the shot, and it takes a lot of time. And I didn't have a lot of time. We had time constraints on shooting the film. So it had to be shot in 2 days. And and it's just putting everything together. And of course, the pandemic being there, the security and safety measures that you have to take. There were limited number of shooting hours. There was rain, which messed up my first day's schedule. I lost 4 hours because of that. And then, of course, the pre-prod of it, the color correction or the editing. Like, I've never met my editor. I've never met my music director. I've never met them in person. So it's all of it put together, and you have to keep the entire picture in mind. Also, you have to understand the logistics. Creatively, I may have wanted to shoot this in Goa, but you have to understand the budget constraints. You have to understand the time constraints, and work in tandem with the producer as well. It's not just your creative vision, but without compromising on your vision, on what you want to tell and how you want to tell it. So it's a lot of responsibility. And all those people who put their faith in you, their hard work, sweat, their love and passion, just to support your vision, you better do a decent job to justify it.
That's true. And how difficult it is actually to convey a message or convey a film in 15 minutes.
It's very difficult.
It
is difficult. Because you only have that much time. So it has to be crisp, precise. It has to hit home. It has to hit that spot in the audience's heart and mind. Also, being a solo actor film, it can't be boring. It can't be indulgent. Like directors, even as a director myself, I could have gotten indulgent with it, but I realized 1 minute, I can make an indulgent film for my own viewing, but for the audience, it has to be very crisp and precise, and it has to convey everything. Also, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to see myself for more than 15 minutes, honestly.
So you never see yourself in monitor after every shot?
No, I don't.
Now you had to, because you had to check everything.
Yes, I don't check the monitor. I rarely revisit my work. I see it once after it's completed. After that, I don't revisit my work. I'm not too hot about watching myself.
Right. The film is about the COVID lockdown, the initial COVID lockdown, the 14 days. What would you have done? What would Shefali Shah have done if you were in that situation? Like, would
done
you
exactly what Suchi did. She's my counterpart. She's my fantasy. She's living my fantasy out. I would have done exactly what she did, I think.
Oh gosh, she was so calm in the movie.
She was, I wouldn't say calm. She was actually trying to live a life in her home while she was away. It took a lot for her to register and understand that lonely and alone is not synonymous. You know, you don't need to be surrounded, or you don't need to be recognized only by the relationships you have. For a lot of women who are constantly working, who are homemakers, who are mothers, wives, daughter-in-laws, who go out to work, the me time, they want the me time, but then when they get it, they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
You know, it's like, ab kya karu? It's time we understand, acknowledge, and accept and appreciate that sometimes doing nothing is the best thing you can do for yourself.
That's true. And like you said, there are moments when you only talk when there's a phone call, when you receive a phone call, and that has been observed even in Jews. Like you talk with your eyes. You even in Ajit Dasas, like your eyes do the most of the talking rather when more than the dialogue you deliver. So what's the whole process like? Because that looks so difficult, but you do it effortlessly.
It just comes naturally. I don't think there is a process. I've said this earlier in my interviews that, you know, if I can say something in 4 words, in 2 words, I won't use 4. And if I can say something without 2 words, I won't use those words. We have a very strong medium, filmmaking. You have a camera which captures the smallest of nuances. Then why need to underline or specify? And the audience is sharp enough to understand the nuances without spelling it out. We don't need to spoon feed them all the time.
That's true. And what kind of content do you wish to create as a filmmaker?
Um, Love stories, human relationships. Yeah, that's what I would do.
So, you have been a part of full-fledged movies, TV shows, web series, and also short films. Being as an actor, what difference do you find in these three mediums? And how which is more difficult or easy to get through it?
Well, for me, all of them are difficult. My process of working on it doesn't change. Um, uh, but with a series, it's an 8 hour or 10 hour film. So you have to be able to, keep the audience guessing and not become predictable. And for the audience to stand you for 10 hours, you have to be able to pull that off. With a short film, it's a short time. You need to tell an entire story. It has to be crisp and it has to hit home like really hard. You know, with a film. So my process doesn't change. Uh, but there are challenges. I mean, making an 8 hour film, a series, isn't easy. And keeping the graph of it going. You know, when you're doing a 3 hour or a 2 hour film, it's easy to remember an entire script. So when you're doing scene number 22, you know what it started with and where you're heading. But when you're doing a series, which is 10 episodes, 1 hour each or 45 minutes each, by the time you reach the 4th episode, I mean, and we don't shoot linear, you know, one day we're shooting 5th episode, one day we're shooting another scene from the 1st episode. So, but you have to keep that graph in mind. You have to keep that whole trajectory in mind.
Right. And
For me, all of it is hard work. All of it is hard work. All of it is challenging. In fact, every time I go to a set, I'm nervous, I'm tensed, I'm anxious. I don't know what I'm going to do. So yeah.
And what about returning to the same character? Like for example, your Delhi Crime, you're playing the same character again, but the story is different. And I think the first or second time you're doing that, you're actually playing a same character again after a short gap. So how different is that? Like that, does it take time for you to get skin of the character, or are you just prepare like you prepare yourself?
No, Vartika is extremely close to me. I am very possessive about Vartika. I became her. And it was not difficult for me to slide into her shoes. But to fill Vartika's shoes, it is always going to be difficult. because Delhi Crime won and Vartika became, I didn't expect her to become who she became. I didn't expect that kind of a reaction to her. So now to stand up to that is a very tall order.
Yeah, I mean, it has been so talked about, it's been much anticipated. People actually can't wait for the second season since the time it has been announced that it's coming back.
Yeah, I can't wait either.
So, ma'am, you have been in this like starting from being having a brief role in Rangila and to being a part of Emmy nominated movie and becoming a filmmaker. So, when you look back at this amazing journey, like how would you describe it?
Well, initially, I would say slow and steady. I think that's how it would be. It was very slow in the beginning. After television was, I was lucky and I did some really good work on television in terms of there were great scripts and very good roles. And then when I started doing films, again, I don't have a very long resume, but I have a strong resume. And then there came a patch where felt that, I don't want to just do a film or a project because I want to go to work. I wanted to do it if it really churned me inside out. And I realized that the work I want to do will come rarely, will come once in a while. So if it means waiting, so be it. So there was a long patch where I wasn't working. I was just waiting. And I'm glad that paid off. And it worked for me.
That's and do you think OTT space actually just blurs out that whole norms or people saying that there's a certain shelf life to actors, female actors? Do you think that OTT has?
Completely. Completely. Because now OTT has opened up the horizons. There are real stories, there are real characters. It's not just about a hero and a heroine. It's not star driven. It's driven by performers, it's driven by content, it's driven by creative makers who are aspiring to make content which is on an international level. And it's opened up roles for women, even for men. They want good actors, they don't want stars. So it's fantastic. It's a great time for every creative person.
Right. And what do you have to say about this whole debate going on that if there will be a censorship in OTT? Because it has given a creative liberty to a lot of people than the movies which have been coming across. But the rise in OTT content. So what do you have to say about the censorship thing?
I think it's a combined effort. It's not just the responsibility of a platform or a maker, but it's also, of course, it is. You can't hurt people's emotions and feelings, but the audience has a choice of switching it off. You
Yeah.
know, uh, they have that choice. So it's about making that choice as a maker and as a viewer. It goes hand in hand.
That's true. And what do you have to say about your association with Royal Ballad, large short films? Because it gave you it gave you juice, and now it is it's backing your even directorial debut. Like, how has this association been?
It's been fantastic. Juice is one of my finest works. Juice is a
Yes.
film I totally love, and Neeraj Gewan is amazing. But coming back to it, it's great that there is a platform which showcases films like this, and it's wonderful even for a viewer because you can access it on your phone. You can watch it it's open, it's available, and it's content which can be which is international content, which is it's giving opportunities to new makers. It's taking on new stories. Their stories are content driven. They're powerful stories, and it's great. I'm so glad to be associated with Large Shot.
Right. And is there any like choice of content you have when it comes to like because you have been part of all the mediums? So is there any something a soft corner for any one of the mediums?
Not really. Any role, any project, any character that turns me inside out, that hits me in my heart and my gut, I will do it. I don't care what medium it is for.
Right. And what was your biggest takeaway from Happy Birthday Mummyji? Now that it's coming in like couple of days, like the whole
Tomorrow,
process
it's releasing tomorrow.
is coming tomorrow. So what was your biggest
Uh,
take directing and featuring?
what is my biggest take? I don't know. I mean, I think Suchi has actually gone ahead and lived what we all just aspire and dream of doing, or fantasize of doing. And yeah, I think sometimes it's just fine to let go. First, to begin with, to let go of your own expectations from yourself. To begin with,
Yeah, that's nice. And what about your projects, the Darlings, Dr. G? Have you started shooting and how is it going?
I finished shooting for Human, which is a web series, which
Yeah,
is directed by Shefali Shah and Moses Singh.
yeah,
It's about the medical world, the underbelly of the medical world, human drug trials, very raw, very gritty, very interesting. And it's a character I have never ever played before. It's a character I have never even heard or seen before. I've never met a person like that in my life. So very exciting. And then there is Darlings, which is a dark comedy. Uh, it's uh, it's a very pertinent and important topic, but it's hilarious. It's wicked. It's a genre I haven't done. People just offer me very serious roles, so this is a complete, different genre I'm doing, and I'm loving it, thoroughly enjoying it. And then there is Dr. G, which is a very sweet, sensitive, funny film. And I'm part of the ensemble. I'm doing it because I really like the script. And then we have a little bit of patchwork left for Delhi Crime 2. And
yeah,
yeah, and one or two projects that I'm in talks with. We'll announce it as and how it gets finalized.
yeah. Thank you. It was great talking to Shefali ma'am. All the best. Looking forward to all your
Thank you.
projects. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.